As an entrepreneur, one of our big things is to thrive because we're creative, we're getting ideas out, we have these big visions. But in my experience, having worked with entrepreneurs for over 14 years, there's a big difference between having an idea and actually making it profitable and making it work. So I'm really excited for today's guest, Dino Dogan, who has cracked the code and turned his creativity and his vision and his innovation into one of the biggest name social media tools. Hi, I'm Melanie Benson. I'm known as America's leading small business optimizer, and this weekly podcast is all about little things that are going to make your business perform 10, 15, maybe even 20. Hey, we could go for 100 times better. It's the little game changers that make the biggest difference in your bottom line and your ability to really enjoy your business and have a lifestyle. Isn't that what we all wanted in the first place? So our guest today is Dino Dogan, and Dino is a self-proclaimed speaker. He's a startup guy. He is a lousy martial artist, which I'm completely fascinated by. He's a singer and a songwriter, and if I remember correctly, somewhat of a dog training expert and or someone who likes to share his advice. And, drum roll please, this is my favorite part, founder and CEO of one of the greatest social media tools I've ever run across, Triber.com, and that's spelled T-R-I-B as in boy, E-R-R.com. So Dino, thanks so much for coming on to the show today and being willing to share a little bit about how you're making a great idea actually work.
Oh, thank you, Melanie. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we were talking earlier, Dino is, what was it? What for Falcon?
Oh, yeah. My last name, Dogan. It means
Dino,
falcon
yes.
in Turkish.
Dogan is falcon in Turkish. And so
Mm-hmm.
Melanie is actually, it means dark woman.
Really?
I guess maybe it's because of my hair. Yeah.
Wait, well, like what?
I'm going for dark and mysterious. That's the way I'm going to run it.
I know several Melanies. This is going to come in handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you know. It's actually, they're dark and mysterious. I don't know if the mysterious is actually part of it, but when I looked it up, in those naming books, it was something about dark woman.
Interesting.
So you can't name your boy Melanie.
Nice. Good to know.
Yeah. These are the little tidbits that just make our life work perfectly, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, all right, Triber. I love Triber. It's one of my favorite tools.
Thank you.
I have all my clients get involved, which I'm still a little confused about how you actually get into it, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I somehow luckily got myself in there. But let's talk about what Triber is and how you decided to get Triber out there in the world, because this is like really, this is a valuable piece of innovation that's come out in the world.
Well, thank you, first of all, for saying that. What is Triber? It's essentially a social network for content creators. So bloggers, podcasters, YouTubers, any member of the creative class that's creating content. Tribe is a great way to A, connect with other content creators, and B, get greater content distribution. Our mandate is to help people grow their audience. And then how it all came about is I had a tribe of about 15 bloggers. This was back in like 2009, 2010. I had a tribe of, a group. That's all I'm saying, right? People get hung up on the word tribe. There was a group of us, about 15 bloggers, that we were essentially helping each other grow our audience. So I would share their content, they would share my content, I would comment on their content, they would comment on mine. And, we were like a little band of brothers, right? The problem was there was no way to scale it. Like, what if we wanted to expand to like 20 or 30 or 50 people or 100 people, right? Imagine having to go to 100 different blogs to share them and for them to like keep track of you sharing them and share you back and stuff like that, right? You couldn't do that, right? So I'm like, it was a Wednesday night, I'm like, there has to be a tool out there that would allow us to do this. And I spent the entire night until like 4 a.m. I spent the entire night looking for a tool like that, and it didn't exist. So the next day I called my co-founder, Dan Christo. I'm like, dude, we have to build a tool like this. And Saturday we got together. By Wednesday, there was a prototype that we were logging into and sharing each other's stuff. And like 3 weeks later, we opened it up to beta users. So that's how it all came about.
I love it. So let's go a little bit deeper into how Triber works. You
Sure.
get invited into a tribe, right? Because
Or
can't.
you build your own tribe.
Okay, or you can build your own
Yeah.
tribe. But there's a special way that you get into Triber. How does that work?
Well, we've gone through different iterations
Okay.
of how to sort of join a tribe and how to build a tribe and whatnot. And our latest iteration has essentially mimicked the real world, the way groups of people function in real life. So if you want to join tribe, obviously, let's say you're the chief of the tribe, I can connect with you on Skype, on Twitter, on Facebook, in person, doesn't matter, right?
Right.
I connect with you and I say, hey, Melanie, listen, I understand you have a killer tribe. I think my blog would be a great fit for your tribe. Can you bring me in, right? Can you make me a member? And then you go into the members area and you make me a member, and, Bob's your uncle, right? But I can also explore tribes, find a tribe that I think I would be a good fit for, find a tribe that would be a good fit for me, and I can follow that tribe. Now, when you follow that tribe, you can remain a follower or you can request a promotion to full-fledged member. So if you want to read content from that tribe, you can remain a follower. It's essentially like a group RSS subscription type of deal, right? You're subscribing to content of that tribe and it's get fed into your tribal stream and all that stuff, right? So you can remain a follower or you can request a promotion. If I request a promotion, an email goes out to you. Let's say you're the chief of the tribe. Email goes out to you saying, hey, Dino would like to be a full-fledged member. Here's Dino's info. Check out his Twitter. Check out his blog, blah, 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 all that stuff. And you vet me, and if I'm a good fit for the tribe, you make me a full-fledged member. So it kind of mimics real world, right? It's like you can hang around a group of people, and then eventually, go through the initiation process of some sort, and, you become a full-fledged member. So we were trying to mimic that.
Got it. I love it. It's very addicting when you put a blog post out to see all these people. I usually get like 50, 100, and if it's a really good post, it seems like it goes viral and all these other tribes start picking it up, and everybody's like sharing it on social media like Twitter and Facebook and Google, and all of a sudden you see this going over and over and over again, and you're like, wow, this is really cool. And I'll just say one of the things that I think makes Triber work, and it's a really great karmic system, is the more you're engaged and you're actively putting other people's content out on your social media channels, I see that it definitely picks up, and picking the right channels where your content is really aligned. Like I got into a few tribes where I'm like, I don't think this content is aligned. I can't really do much with it. But then there was others that was just really great and juicy. So it's been a lot of fun.
We have close to 100,000 tribes.
Wow.
Yeah, so some tribes obviously are going to be a good fit, some are not going to be a good fit. And if you can't find the right fit, build your own tribe.
Yeah.
I think everyone should be a leader of their own tribe.
I've been thinking about doing one. I just haven't found the right slant on it that I want to do. So this is
When you don't know what to do, the easiest and the safest way to build a tribe is to simply invite people whose content you love to read and love to share. If you build a tribe consisting of people whose content you love, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. I think I'm actually going to make it a perk for one of my client groups is that are producing content, because I have some pretty high-end clients that they have great content. So I might do a little perk for them there.
Sure.
Thought about that. So you were sharing with me earlier a little bit more behind how you decided to start this Triber and getting Dan Christo involved and everything. But the fundamental problem is what? Why is Triber so popular with content providers all over the world?
Well, first of all, we try to. Our mandate is to grow your audience, right? So that's inherently a desirable thing in a social network. Content creators, they want to grow their audience, and that's our mandate, right? But then beyond that, we actually fulfill on that promise. We actually do what we say we do, right? And then I try to set it up in the old Dale Carnegie, right? That guy. the whole win-win type of setup, right? Where, you know, you growing your tribe benefits you. Of course, it benefits Triber as well, but it benefits you, and then it benefits your tribe mates as well. So it's just like a really all-around win-win setup. So I think that's why it's popular, and, you know, then it helps content creators go from 0 to 60 really quickly.
Yeah. And I would imagine that part of what makes it work is that you actually have a social media following that makes you worthy, if you will, of being in the tribe. Because, you know, even if you're starting smaller, you might want to get in a tribe where a lot of people have smaller followings. But people with big followings, I've noticed I've become quite popular because I have, you know, 20,000 plus on Twitter, versus tribes where, you know, maybe they don't have as big a following. You know, kind of finding that compatible tribe is good too.
You know, one of the first tribes, it's actually the second tribe ever built on Triber. It's called Anubis. It's my tribe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I first started that tribe, there was about, I don't know, maybe 12 people or so in that tribe. Most of us had, at the time, a few thousand followers on Twitter, right? Tops, right? But you put 12 people together, each of them with a few thousand followers, all of a sudden I had this dude knocking on my door, virtual door,
Right.
knocking on my door saying, hey dude, I'd really like to be a member of your tribe. And the dude had like 70,000 followers.
Yeah.
Right? So 12 of us essentially, you know, had a comparable following to him, and he was happy to be brought into a tribe like that. So it's a lever. That's really another way to describe it. Triber is very much a lever. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's an optimizer for traffic when you might be just starting out, or you're wanting to get exposed to new. You know what I look at is like there's so many joint venture type deals, strategic partners, affiliate type things. This is almost like a neutral platform for building alliance partners who are just going to cross promote each other's stuff without worrying about getting paid. But you did actually introduce a paid level to Triber recently. A, probably to help you monetize it, but B, you know, kind of like, well, maybe tell us why was the paid part helpful?
Well, you're absolutely right. Something's got to keep the lights on, right? We've had growth spurts in the last 3 years, and you know, most of the money that we make goes to you know, hosting costs and servers and stuff like that, right? We monetized Triber 3 weeks into its existence. Take that, Twitter and Facebook. And we monetized it through virtual currency called Bones. And we had Bones for like almost 2 years. But then we did away with Bones and we introduced premium levels essentially. So, you know, free tribe, it can be up to 30 members. When you go premium, you can go up to 75 members, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So we introduced that, and you know, it's just, you know, something to keep the lights on. Our main monetization strategy is the one where we actually help content creators make a living, right? That's where brands run campaigns on Triber, influence marketing campaigns, and bloggers who are members of those campaigns, who are brand ambassadors for that brand, they end up getting paid for it, and we just take a percentage off of that. So we like that flow of money, right? I don't like us making money from bloggers, right? I like us making money from brands and helping bloggers also make money from brands. That flow of money is a lot more interesting to me.
I love that. And you, by the way, I kind of got the gist of it, but I'm really glad you explained it because now it makes a lot more sense. And I can see why that would be such a powerful way to monetize the whole thing and let the content sharing be what it is, but then have the brands who really want to get promoted and have that influence piece, you know, be the ones that are funding all of the value.
You know, since we started, brands have been coming to us saying, hey, can you put us in front of your bloggers? And we're like, no, we can't, right? We can't just, you know, put you in front of our blog. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was out of integrity.
Yeah, I feel very protective of Triber member base, you know? So putting a brand in front of our bloggers in a way where brand is hiring those bloggers on like a temp basis type of deal, right? The way, Nike hired Michael Jordan to be a brand ambassador, right? That kind of thing. That makes a lot more sense to me. And that's the model that we rolled out publicly in January, but we've been doing it for about a year now.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, I want to go a little bit more behind the scenes of how you made this work, because obviously this was not the first idea you ever had.
Yeah, no. Can we, I like to say that I shit good ideas. You know, good ideas are dime a dozen.
Yep.
I'm sad to say.
Yeah, well, they are. Because this
Good
is our
ideas are
currency.
dime a
This is
dozen.
what we do. We
Yeah.
generate ideas. This is what makes us feel alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this one worked. This one worked well, and you're monetizing it. You've got your name out there in a big way. What would you say is like the technique, or maybe there's a strategy behind it that really set you apart and got this thing off the ground working well?
Dan Christo.
Ah, say more. I interacted with Dan, but it sounds like he's like your secret weapon.
He absolutely is. Yeah.
Okay.
So I can't code my way out of a paper bag. Right? So, but in order for us to build this platform, that's what we needed. That's what I needed. I needed someone who can actually make that happen. And paying someone in India or anywhere else for that matter to create it just wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
Because we're always in beta. There's always something that needs to be done. There's always more that needs to be done. We had no idea how we would monetize it, or when we monetize it, that it would actually work, right? So that's why I contacted Dan Christo, and we started it together. And he's just a speed demon of implementation, right? Like I said, he built a prototype in few days, and within 3 weeks, we opened it up to beta invites. I mean,
Wow.
That's an incredible pace. And all I was doing is the, incredible inflatable balloon man in front of Triber waving people in. In front of car dealerships when they have
Yeah.
incredible inflatable balloon man. Yeah, that's me, right? So all I'm doing is waving people in, and they end up on this platform, and this platform ends up doing stuff that's pretty incredible. And that's all thanks to Dan Christo.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing you say is you leveraged the competency and the skill set in someone else that you didn't have.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And I think people forget, like a lot of people get caught up and I have to do it all myself and I've got to figure it out. And, for some people paying someone is not really an option. So the idea gets stuck. So love it. You leveraged the brilliance of someone who complemented what you had to offer.
Yeah. We're a pretty perfect Venn diagram. He's
Yeah.
got most of the skills I don't. I have most of the skills that he doesn't. And it works out pretty well.
Together, you're amazing.
I should hope so.
All right. Well, I know it hasn't always been amazing. I'm sure there's been some challenges along the way. You've been in business, 3 years, 4 years now?
3 years, yeah.
Yep. And I think I was there right towards the beginning. So what would you say is one of your biggest challenges that you guys faced as you were growing at the speed of light?
There's so many of them, but the biggest and most persistent challenge is we have this great big vision of what Triber is supposed to be, and we can't get there now. Like, we can't get there yesterday. We want to be there yesterday, but it's like that whole saying, the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Right? So we have to eat one bite at a time to get to this big vision. And it's very frustrating when, you don't have the resources to get there faster. And that was the other thing. We've had opportunities to raise money in the last 3 years, but we've never found the right opportunity right fit for us to actually do it. So everything we've done so far has essentially been bootstrapped. So that means that we have to make do with very few resources. We have to maximize our usage of all of our resources. And that also means that we have to kill off some of our babies, which is, again, just so painful. I mean, we used to have headline testing area in Triber. where you could type in your headline and you have other people vote on it and see how it, I mean, it was a brilliant little piece of the puzzle, and people loved it, but we just couldn't continue to support it, you know, and there's been a lot of stuff like that where we had to kill off some of our babies. So those are some of the challenges.
Well, it sounds like focusing on the core of what you guys are about means sometimes all these great ideas, you know, have to get streamlined and cut away, and
Yeah.
I call it delegate them, delete them, or defer them.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of deleting going on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, yes, I can relate to that pain. It's such a great idea. Not now.
Yep.
No.
There's a lot of that.
It's a big distraction.
Yep. Yep.
So what on this journey has been probably a game-changing moment for you guys? Like maybe an aha or something that it was like, you know, when you have like all of the molecules rewire in you and you go, ah, I can't believe I didn't know that before, or something that really made a big difference.
That's a great question. You know, while I'm sort of thinking about how to answer that, the first thing I thought about was this. I remember we were in Tucson on a tribal retreat. This was about two and a half years ago. It was our first Tucson retreat. We had two since then. And we were just hanging out in the hot tub, and we were just sort of brainstorming and whatnot.
Oh, hang on just a second, Dino. Hang on just a second.
And we, how
Your Skype connection went robotic.
Oh, okay.
All right, now you're back. So just say that last part again. When you were sitting in the hot tub.
Yeah. No, so we were sitting in a hot tub and we're just kind of brainstorming, and we started asking this seemingly crazy question, which is, how would we kill Triber? Like, if we weren't Triber, how would we kill Triber? Right? And like, how would we come in as a competitor and just knock us off? Right? And that kind of thinking, that kind of question has produced a lot of great features for Triber. That's how we came up with the Triber plugin. I mean, there's so many features that came out of that kind of thinking. It's like, what could somebody do that would sort of, you know, knock us off? So that was a kind of a piece of unconventional thinking for me that made a huge difference along the way.
Great. I like that. So it's almost like you go in the back door of what would happen to take us out of the game, and then figure out what do we need to create to kind of kill-proof the business.
Bingo.
Love it.
Bingo.
That's a great tip too, and just a way to take that question into your own business and say, what makes me kill-proof or competition-proof, or however you want to spin that question. Great one.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so do you have a favorite mantra or quote that gets you inspired, powered up, or ready to conquer the world, especially on those days where you want to like crawl into the covers or go play all day and not really work?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I believe it was Gandhi who said it, be the change you want to see in the world.
Love that.
And that's like super powerful. It gets me upset whenever I see people that say, you know, I wish it would blah, 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 blah. It's like, don't wish, just do it, right? It's like, don't wait for somebody else to do it. Just, if that's something that you want, then go do it.
Yeah.
Right? Don't wait for somebody else to do it. Yeah, so be the change you want to see in the world. That's a great quote.
I think that's a great, it's a great mantra for anybody who's an innovator, especially if you have fear that comes up that tends to pull you out or take you out of the game. Because, you know, in my experience, you know, I end up doing a lot of mindset work with entrepreneurs because it's those fears, those doubts, that worry that takes somebody who potentially has this brilliant idea, this awesome thing that they could give to the world, and gets them on the sidelines.
Yep. Yeah, I know that.
You know, kind of like a spin on this, I'm just curious, you know, like, is there something besides knowing that you're meant to be the change in the world and that you can take responsibility? Is there anything that helps you remember to get over those fears and doubts and worries if they come up?
You know, again, I'd have to refer to my ace up my sleeve, which is Dan Christo. Um, we, not only from a technical perspective, but also from a mindset perspective, we have very different yet very complementary mindsets when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, you know, I'm always thinking 6 months, a year ahead, and thinking sort of this crazy, insane, big stuff that's completely unreal, right? And he's the guy who's kind of in the moment, and he's like, okay, so what do we need to do first in order to get there, right? So
He's the realist.
he is
You're the
definitely the
visionary,
realist.
he's the
Yeah.
realist. Let's get a
He's
strategy to get there. Oh, but we could go here. No, we need a strategy. What do we need to do next? I could
Yeah.
I can almost picture the conversations you guys have.
Yeah. So you know, in terms of the mindset, and I definitely understand what you mean. You know, I mean, I grew up middle class with my parents, you know, working for somebody else, right? The whole idea of me owning my own business was so alien to begin with, right? And then I've had some unsuccessful businesses. I've dumped $50,000 on a business that took 2 years to fail. You know what I mean? So it's like it wasn't easy going, and I didn't have a lot of models growing up in terms of entrepreneurship and owning a business and stuff like that. So I definitely get the whole, you know, I come from middle class, so that middle class mentality and working for somebody else is sort of getting over that mindset that you have to work for somebody else. That was tough. That was tough. Now I can't see myself working for anybody else. Yeah.
I know it's like we become unemployable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know that if I ever get hired for somebody else, I'm just going to be like a spy. I feel like I'm going to be a spy, you know, incognito, not really working on their mission, just kind of, you know, working my own mission inside the bigger picture or something like that. It's,
Nice.
yeah, totally unemployable.
Which is a
I'm
good
proud
thing.
of it. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so I'm curious what you think about this. I see there's like really three pillars to optimizing. There's the mindset, there's your habits, you know, how productive you are, and then there's strategy. Which one would you say is the most important one to really optimizing the success of your business?
Gun to my head, I would say mindset. But all three are so super
They
important,
really are, yeah.
right?
But like, don't you think like if without the mindset, the other two just you don't really power them up enough?
Right, that's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, if believe me, you know, in my early 20s, all I wanted to do was to be a white collar worker who was making six figures, right? And you know, 5, 6, 7 years later, I was there. So all of a sudden, I found myself, all of my wildest dreams came true. Uh-oh, now what?
Here I am. I don't know if I want to be here.
Here I am, and I was so bored. Oh my God, Melanie, I'm not exaggerating when I say that I was working 15 minutes per week.
Wait a minute. You said 15 minutes per week as a white collar guy?
Yeah, well,
What job did you have? I thought you were going to say 15 hours a day, which was what I was doing.
Nope. 15 minutes per week. I wasn't getting paid for what I did. I was getting paid for what I knew how to do. I was a network engineer at a very large company, and you know, the actual work that I've done took about 15, 20 minutes per week. And I was bored out of my head. I mean, you would think that that would be like an ideal position to be in, but I was bored out of my head. And I realized that we need bigger dreams. All of us. We need bigger dreams.
I love that. You know, it's almost sometimes there's weird things that happen to us along the way, and it's so uncomfortable and so challenging. But then later we go, if that didn't happen, I would never have had the catalyst to step into the dream, to step into a big goal. Sounds like being bored out of your mind. And for me, it was being completely chaotically overworked and not having a life, being on the road 300 days a year. But, you know, we all have that catalyst that makes it so uncomfortable. We have to find something that makes us happier.
Yeah. Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
So what's next for you and or Triber as you guys are on this really fun, innovative adventure?
So we just in January we launched a big new piece to our ecosystem, which is this influence marketing thing. So the next step is really to get the word out. We have the best. Most superior influence marketing platform out there, and the problem is not everybody knows that. So my job this year, our job this year, is to get the word out and get people, get brands to take it for a spin, see how great it is, and that's just going to end up benefiting everybody.
Awesome. Well, let's tell everybody how they can get involved in Triber if they are doing content marketing, would like to tap into this powerful support system and really source of a lot of new leads.
Yeah, Triber.com. Sign up, build your own tribe, join some existing tribes. We have close to 100,000 of them. And, every time you publish a new blog post, Triber automatically sucks it in, unlike other networks, right?
Yeah.
Facebook and Google, LinkedIn and Twitter, you have to take your post and manually post it over there, right? Triber automatically sucks it in. The whole purpose of Triber is to help content creators and content consumers spread that content around to Twitter, to Facebook, to G+, and so on. Build some tribes of your own. Join some existing tribes. Triber will suck in your content as it gets published, present it to your tribe mates. They'll end up sharing it to Twitter and Facebook and so on. And in turn, you end up with a ton of content that's super shareable, super quality content that you can share with your audience.
Nice. I love it. It's one of my favorite tools. Thanks so much for having the vision and creating it. And I'm so glad that you and I have had a chance to really connect today and hear more of the backstory of how everything got going. To me, it's one of the most inspiring things is to listen to what gets people started and what keeps people going. Because we're all going to have those good days and those bad days. And when the bad days happen, it's kind of nice to know that you're not alone.
Well, yeah. So now we've grown our team to about 4 or 5 people. I guess 4.5 people. Ralph Rivera from Web Search Social, Carolyn Rivera, his wife, is involved. Jillian, my girlfriend, is a little bit involved. So yeah, you're right. It's great. Like sometimes I just feel like a total unproductive ass, and then Ralph or Dan or whoever comes and says, "Look what we rolled out. This project got completed," and you just get energized, right? Like, oh my God, they did this stuff, and now it's there, and it was amazing, right? So you're absolutely right. Sometimes you don't feel so productive. It's important to have a team behind you that makes you feel like not a complete ass.
I'm not a loser, I promise.
Yeah. Exactly.
I can do this. Awesome. Well, you've been a lot of fun. Thank you. And as you're listening in today, I'd love to hear what's an idea or a tip or something that you got some value out of. Share it in the blog post below. If you're listening to us on iTunes, you can pop over to melaniebensonstrick.com. Join us on the blog, and I'm sure Dino would love to hear. I know I would love to hear what's been something inspiring from today. And we will see you in Triber. All right. Bye, everyone.